Lydia back with her cute, stupid hat. Here to represent myself for the viewing public. I got fired today. That was fun. You know, I just feel like I'm supposed to tell the truth. So I guess the first thing to say is I got fired. Got fired from my job where I make $16 an hour. And I take a lot of shit for just like, I don't know, probably just being me. Honestly, like, you don't always fit in to this world. A lot of people don't really like you for just being who you are. Unless you're a really good conformist. Ask anybody that's ever probably met me and they'd be like, well, she's certainly not a conformist. Which is a little bit, I don't know, challenging or whatever, I guess. I feel like it's gotta be even more challenging at some level to like be a conformist though, you know, where you're like, you gotta keep up with all the latest and greatest like boxes that you're supposed to fit into, ideological boxes and like political boxes, and just the kind of like person who's just constantly chasing around what the most appealing status quo is to like the greatest number of people, you know, where you're like, okay, here's the status quo. There's a lot of like bad shit in the status quo. There's a lot of really ungood, like unkind, horrible stuff that's going on within the status quo, but like a conformist is like, well, I just have to like conform to that, you know, and match whatever level of integrity is in front of me, which is usually not very much. You know, it's almost like, I feel like whenever status quo is involved, it's like very rare that integrity is also involved, which is so weird. Such a weird thing. Anyway, I know that somebody out there in the world who I am somehow like tied to in this like quantum world, some kind of quantum way. I've been entangled with someone who is currently in a much worse situation than me. He's sitting in jail right now, and his name's Jackson Bolanos. And I just feel like, so I had this feeling that I was going to go into my job and probably end up not like having a job when I left the meeting, because it was just like, there's just a lot of stuff that has been going on, and I've been very unhappy, and I guess they're unhappy with me too, and it's just not working out. So I was like, well, okay, here we go, God. In the event that I leave that place without a job, I guess we need to talk truth, don't we? Like, I just need to take the time to talk some truth. We need to talk about what is true. I mean, unless some blessing has happened behind the scenes and I don't know about it, Jackson Bolanos still sits in jail. And so the title of this video being what it is, it's gonna have a little bit to do with just like me in my stupid life and how much shit I've been through, particularly starting at the chapter where tragedy struck in 2023 and Hamas attacks Israel and somebody murdered my friend. You know, she was not just my friend. She was a lot of people's friend. And instead of, like, figuring out what happened there, you know, instead of, like, really getting to the bottom of what the hell is going on, they just slapped a young black man in cuffs and called it a day. And they didn't really get away with it in the way that they thought they would, but they're still getting away with it, you know? It's like, who knows if that kid will ever get out of jail? Poor guy. Supposed to be in there for... The recommendation was probation, I believe. Like the whatever, I can't remember the name, but like the parole, not the parole board, but like the administration that makes a recommendation to the court based on the findings of the trial, and they recommended, I think, probation. And instead, the judge slaps him with an 18-month sentence, which he has now served. He has served the 18-month sentence, and he still sits in jail. And as far as I can tell, nobody gives a fuck about it. Except me. And it's weird that I care about this man that I've literally never officially met. Was in the same room with him, but like, I don't know. I'm a weirdo. I don't like the status quo. One of the status quos that goes on is like young men who are black go to jail for stuff they didn't do. A lot. Happens a lot. And everybody's like, the BLM movement, it was corrupt. And yep, I agree. Everything's fucking corrupted. Can't get anything done in this world without it being corrupted. Even the most pure, like, beautiful, even Christianity, the most pure, beautiful, blessed message literally, like, has gone forth and shed blood in its name. You know, people have crusaded based on the most beautiful depiction of, like, what could be, which is, like, Jesus and his way of being in this world, if everybody would be that way. And yet they took that message, corrupted it, co-opted it, and slapped murder on it. You know, they're like, oh, well, we're crusading for our faith. Like, anyway, obviously I don't have always the most whatever coherent thoughts, but I guess one that's very coherent right now is like, shit is wrong here. There's a lot of shit wrong here on Earth. And like the prayer of like, let it be done on Earth, like God's will, let it be here on this planet like it is in heaven, is just so far from true, you know? It's so far from being real. How long do we have to wait until it all gets cleaned up? You know, I don't know what I can do. I really don't know what I can do to contribute to a better world. Except for talk incoherently. In this moment, that's all I have, is just a voice that's trying to reconcile a whole bunch of non-truth with what might be truth. And I'm doing my best all the time, and like, do I ever make mistakes? Do I ever really just fail But, like, I don't know. I look around, I tell my people, this is what I'm doing, this is where I'm at, this is the situation, and they're like, I don't see you as failing. And I'm like, okay, well, what is succeeding then? Because I'm confused. You know, it would be so fun is just to be successful at, like, telling the truth and having the truth be like, okay, that is successfully disseminated. Truth hath been successfully disseminated. So let me just start again. Let me start from, like, one of the points that I want to make. Some administration of the court recommends that Michael Jackson Bolanos is on probation, and I need to get my facts straight, but whatever, regardless of what they recommended, it was far easier of a sentence than what Judge Margaret, whatever, Van Houten or whatever her name is, Smacks, whatever, she threw him in jail for 18 months. And the fact remains that this man who did not kill my friend Sam is still in jail for not killing her. Just being at the place where she died and seeing her dead body. You know, it's just nuts. It's so insane that somebody did that to her, that they went into her place of dwelling, did this to her, and she made it all the way outside and collapsed there and ran into someone. You know, someone ran into her and had to go through that experience. You know, I feel so bad for everybody involved. It's somehow, I gotta include myself in that. It's like, if only I could just have had a normal life. You know, like, settled up with one of these dudes from the past and, like, popped out a couple kids and made some arts and crafts along the way. And, like, wrote some kids' books or something. That would have been fun. But instead I have to, like, feel a little bit bad for myself because I got involved in a murder mystery. So I don't really know where this ends up going. I don't know if I keep going from here. I'm so fickle, I change my mind all the time, you know, but I have a lot to say. Been through a lot. Getting fired. Like, if I could take getting fired over what I was getting kicked in the teeth over last year, well, I would take getting fired any day. You know, I really survived. I survived some hardcore shit last year. And I'm still surviving some shit, but you gotta soldier on, you know, you gotta just keep pressing toward the mark of the high calling. And I guess eventually just trust that it's gonna figure out, it's gonna sort itself out. It's all gonna come together and make sense. But there's a lot of stuff that super doesn't make sense right now. Like, why is this young man still in jail? Well, if nothing else, it's at least some sort of a motivation for me to start talking, speaking truth, and seeing what happens, what comes of it. How much truth do I want to speak? I've never had a limit on speaking my own truth. Never. I don't think I should start limiting myself. In which case, it's going to be a lot to talk about. So what's the date today? I don't even know. It's Thursday, November 12th, I think, or something like that. And 13th. Yeah. 13th, I think. And it is just one of them days. Yep, Thursday, November 13th. It's one of those days where if I don't take the reins here and I don't do something that I said I would do, it's like between me and God, you know, it's like I'm about to leave, I'm about to go have a meeting with my managers at work, and I know it's not going to be like a real good meeting, like, no, it's going to be weird. And I was like, all right, God, well, if I don't leave that office with a job, then I'm going to talk to the internet about this situation. I'm just going to do it. And so all I can do is follow through, you know, one step at a time. And it's like, okay, take one foot and put it in front of the other foot, and follow through on what I say I'm going to do. And if God is like really behind this, if this is really something that God wants, is like Lydia Bates speaking truth, then God will bless it and protect it. So, thank you for listening. I mean, I really appreciate it. I don't know what exactly I want you to be doing other than thinking about Michael Jackson Bolanos. I want you to think about Sam Woll. I want you to think about the fact that there's a really, really hardcore injustice that's going on in the world pertaining to this story. I do need to focus in on that. But I want you also broadly thinking about what does the world and the darkness in it have to gain by putting a Michael Jackson behind bars unlawfully? And I want to seed the idea further that Sam Woll dying when she died, being killed when she was killed 2 weeks after the Hamas attack on Israel, created a vacuum, an ideological vacuum, where a legend once stood. Sam was a legend. She was legendary. She was a peacemaker, and I believe at the level now of a martyr. Was she a saint? No. She made just as many mistakes as all of the rest of us people, especially just people, make. You know, she was a person. She made what, I don't even know if I'd call those mistakes. She just lived her life. But very few people, in addition to being imperfect, also are legendary. You know, everybody is imperfect, but not everybody's legendary. Sam Woll was legendary. Why was she legendary? Because she used her voice and her talent to build bridges between Muslims and Jews. And I know she did that. Everybody knows she does that. Everybody knows she did that with her time and her talent and her energy. Everybody that knew her. And a lot of people knew her. And a lot of people with a lot of power, and a lot of people that have an interest in not hearing her voice knew. they knew, they knew that Sam wouldn't have recommended that Gaza be genocided. She would have been obviously very articulately opposed to a genocide of the Gazan people, the Palestinian people. I wonder how much work she would have gotten done by now, And I wonder how convenient it is that she didn't get any of that work done. How convenient is it to the people who are committing genocide? How convenient is it that someone like Sam is gone, that she wasn't there for the last 2 years? Their job is a lot easier without people like her, It's also a lot easier without people like Charlie Kirk. But what am I? I'm just a loser who got fired and I just talk at the internet. I don't know. There was a moment in time where I was expecting to talk with the media about these very topics. And they, for whatever reason, conveniently for them, just couldn't air the segment, it just had to be postponed or canceled. Postponed. Well, it's time to start, I suppose. It's time to start asking these kind of questions, And come what may. Come what may. This is not maybe the most articulate start to our interview process. Me interviewing myself. I apologize, but thank you for listening, especially if you've been here for 22 minutes. Honestly, thank you so much, even if you're someone who's super opposed to anything I believe in. If you're someone who's Lydia Bates shouldn't exist. Add her to the list. Charlie Kirk her ass. Even if you feel that way, if you're like, I am so pro-Israel and I want to genocide the people of Palestine and I want Lydia to be added to the list. It's great. I have a $100,000 life insurance policy with my parents' name on it. So come get me, bitch. I don't advocate violence. I don't want you to come and kill me. I didn't want you to kill my friend. I didn't want you to kill Charlie Kirk. I don't want you to kill the people in Gaza. I don't want anyone to be murdered because I follow the Bible. The Torah. I follow the Torah that says you shouldn't kill people. Thou shalt not kill. Not just you shouldn't, but if you do, you're fucked. You're damned. Plus a smattering of other instructions that y'all don't follow. Y'all don't follow your own book. Maybe you should read it. Maybe I should read it. I'm reading Jeremiah right now, the book of Jeremiah. The prophet is oh my God, he's mad at Israel. And I'm ugh! I feel so bad for these people that are just fully lost. And then I look at the current events and I'm just damn, does ever history repeat itself? Woo! Just repeating out here. You just repeating. Read Jeremiah. Some light reading recommendation for your Thursday afternoon. It's a rough one. It's necessary. Okay, I guess that's enough for now. 25 minutes. That feels like a good podcast start. And maybe people are like, what else does she have to say? And that'd be great. And I'll, like, check in next time and see how fucking crazy this all gets. Pardon my language. I'm working on it. Have a good day, y'all. I'm about to go have a good day somehow. I don't even know how we about to do this, but we about to do it. We're gonna make it happen. It's gonna be a really good day. Fun employment begins now. I know how to have fun. Just put a little rainbow sprinkles on it and go to the woods. Talk to you soon.